Couch Sessions. My name is Mugambi Kithinji. Couch Sessions are a platform where we talk, we get to nurture ourselves, and most importantly, we get to better our lives. I'm sure after each and every episode, your life will be better. So sit back, relax, and I hope you'll enjoy this episode. Couch Sessions, welcome again. Thank you for always listening and sharing. And as I usually say, I hope each episode impacts you positively. Well, you might wonder where I have been, but don't. I'm here and I'm back. Actually, I've graduated finally, which I feel good. That has been keeping me busy, yes, and I've also gotten some internship at Ghetto Radio. Balancing the two with the finishing school and also starting work is another thing that has been keeping me busy. But I'm here, and today I'm talking about something serious that I've seen happening in our society, about mob mentality. Because if you have been following the news, there's been very many cases of theft, of people stealing from one another, and the perpetrators of this crime, as it has been known, are very young people who work in groups. They use motorcycles, they also act as a gang. Some that have been arrested, they have been arrested maybe one, but if the trail that has been followed, they have found other 5 or 6 people around them. And yes, as I've said before, mob mentality is what is affecting our society, affecting young people, because you want to work in groups. Yes, it's good to be in a group or to surround yourself with people, but majority of the time when people work in a group or move with mob mentality, that's when people are pressured to do different kind of things. That's why you hear teenagers are into peer pressure, because they want to be like their peers. And the majority of people who are into peer groups and peer pressure are usually between the ages of around, let's say, 15 to around 40. You might wonder why the big bracket, or you just say it's between people who are 15 to 25. No, actually, when you find people who are in the groups of 30 to around 40, that's where you find people in mom groups, in dad groups. That's when you find people. If your friends maybe are buying cars, your friends are maybe living in a certain area, you pressure yourself in order to fit in that kind of clique. In order for you to look cool, you want to take your kids to a certain type of school. You want them to wear certain type of clothes. You always want to look in a certain way, not because you want, but because you want to fit in a certain type of group. And it doesn't end there, but that's where I'm concentrating on, because even beyond that, that's when you find people are in what do you call cliques. They sideline other people. They say, like, maybe a group of people who live in Karen, they don't want to associate with people maybe who live in Kibra. The joy of being in a group is the easiness of feeling like you belong. You want to do things that your friends are doing, and once you belong, you feel a level of acceptance. That's why, for example, the young people who are robbing, the young people who are into crime, you find maybe it's because they want to be like their friends. They want to belong. That's why you find maybe his friend maybe has a nice phone, maybe has nice shoes. He asks what happened or how did you get these shoes. The friend tells him or her, and the next time you find that person is also going to do that thing because he wants to belong. He wants to feel like he's also like his friend. That's why you also find it's very easy for people to start engaging in drugs, in alcohol, in smoking, because you find 4 of your friends are drinking and you don't drink, so you also want to drink and be like them. Yes. Also, there's the expectations of our society and the way we have classified ourselves. Let me use this example. There's someone who lives in Karen and there's someone who lives in Kibra. When you find yourself living in Karen, there are certain type of expectations, there are certain type of things which are there, so you find yourself acting in order to fit in that kind of group or in that kind of place. If you live in Kibra, there are certain type of things, places, individuals that you interact with, and once you interact with those people, you start acting like them in order to fit in that kind of group. That is the negative side of peer pressure or mob mentality, but also it can be a good thing. Maybe, for example, you're at a workplace and maybe the conditions are not good, maybe there's some issues, you can gang up as 4 or 5 people and decide to go and stand up for what you believe in, and you air out your issues. When you go individually, maybe the manager won't see you or view you as a very serious person, but if you go as 5 workers, you'll be like, okay, maybe now there's a problem at my workstation and I need to check on what is going on. And for those who like to study history, they can know it's because of acting in mobs and acting together. That's when people like Martin Luther, people like Malcolm X were able to air out what they were feeling, and the voices of the black people were able to be heard. That's why Mandela and his group were able to bring change in South Africa. They worked together, they went through everything together, and when things got worse, they were all together and they were jailed for 27 years together. And when they came out, they were all together and they formed a new South Africa. You might see that acting in a mob, there are both good things and there are bad things, but the negative things take the higher role compared to the positive things. And that's why I've decided to address it in my podcast today, because I've been seeing that it's really affecting us as young people very negatively, and with the high rising cases of theft and burglary and drug use. As a person who likes to inform and change the society, I feel this is my role and my place where I need to air my voice, and also people who listen to this podcast can be inspired to go and change their society. And one thing that people usually forget is that you can act in a mob, but the consequences usually come, you are the one who will bear it alone. Like the people who are going to steal from people, you might steal as a group, but when the police come looking, you are the one who will go to jail. Yes, you might go all of you to jail, but you'll be the one in that cell. You will be suffering. Maybe you'll have lost your life. Maybe you'll also have lost a lot of time which you could have used maybe to go to university, maybe to learn a skill, maybe to start a business. But now you are in jail. Maybe you're dead, and that's the consequences of acting in a mob. You act together, but when the consequences come, you're usually alone. Maybe, for example, in taking the drugs, you might take them because of your friends, but once the consequences arrive, they usually come on you. You might go and smoke something with your friends or inhale something. You might be happy as a group, but once the consequences come, maybe you can get a heart attack. Maybe the drugs can maybe cause some mental problems to you. Maybe they can start affecting you until you become an addict. And most people usually never think about the negatives. They usually think, we're in a mob, we shall suffer all. And you never know, because different bodies respond to different things differently. You might think drinking alcohol is okay, but you might find maybe your body responds to alcohol differently from your other friend. What I'll advise people who listen to this podcast is that don't act in a mob. Have friends, yes, it's good to have friends, but also be individual and be independent. Be a person who can stand behind their choices. Be somebody who can say, I did this because of my own. I did not do this because of my friends. I did not do this because of my family. I did not come to live at a certain place and I have to act in a certain way because of the community or anything. You are independent. You work on your own. You have your own principles. You have your own set guidelines. You have your own set rules that you follow, that you air out. Maybe you can tell your friends, no, I don't drink on weekdays, or maybe this is the limit of the alcohol I drink, or I don't drink completely, and you stick to that. And once you do that, you will avoid the consequences of mob mentality, and you'll be able to push yourself to go to where you want to go, and you'll also be an accountable person. And the beauty about life is that those who are accountable are the people who end up becoming successful, because they don't do anything because of anyone. So cheers, and let's meet at the next episode. Yeah.